Hey everyone out there on the bridge, listener world. I guess that's the best way to do it when they're watching us. What do you think?
I think so.
So I'm Gavin here at the bridge, and I am joined. You guys have heard us talk about her many times in our live video. Most of you know Love Talk. If you don't, you're missing out on one of our best shows. I'm joined today for our very first ever Stories from the Bridge by Evelyn Davison. I wish I had like a. I'm gonna have to put a clap because you guys don't know this woman. I have worked with since I started when we were over across the street as the Word, and it was
Yes.
amazing, amazing. So, hi Evelyn, how are you
Hello.
today?
I'd give you a kiss, but I might give you
She
germs.
says that all the time because it's like I'm always sick and she's always sick. Plus, she always looks fabulous, like amazing. Like Elena loves her. We all love Evelyn, but I want people to know who's behind Love Talk and the story of Love Talk and your story and why you do Love Talk is. Let me tell you, not only is it Love Talk, it's Good News Journal, it's National Day of Prayer, it's Operation Christmas Child. What else?
Oh, whatever I'm working, we do. I serve as the prayer coordinator for Samaritan's Purse for
Mm-hmm.
our area, and so if there's anything that the family wants to do, well, they want us to start praying for them, and so that started years and years ago, but. And that is one of the things that developed the thing we have today called Pray America. uh, One of the young men that was part of the bringing in and taking Franklin out asked if he could be my assistant in doing a couple of things, and it touched his heart to the point that he left his job, literally left his job, and we began a new corporation called America Prays, and we telling that story of prayer 24 hours a day across this city and our county has now, our goal is to hit 40,000 churches. We have now reached about a third of that. And it's exciting because one of the things that is so important about serving in God's female army or man army, whatever, is to know why you're there and what it is the Lord wants you to do. But Love Talk just started at that particular time. We had a Austin Christian Counseling Corporation, and all of the not all the of the uh, consultants were licensed, but we had set up ways for people that could not afford counseling to have counseling, and it was a mighty force in God's hand. And out of that, I just one day a guy called me and said, "Ellen, I want to visit with you." I said, "Okay, my husband can't do it today. How about tomorrow?" Anyway, we got to the point. I said, "Well, what is this visit about?" And he just laid out the plan for us helping people that needed help, that were in that category of believing God but not serving Him. And so what happened was he wanted to start a radio station. Well, I grew up in radio. My dad had a radio station, and it was on a weekend, and every Saturday morning my job was to go out and take a milk bottle off our front porch. We had a big old colonial house, porch all the way around, to get the requests that people put in that bottle. Like, would you play Rubber Dolly for my Aunt Sarah Ann? She
So they
broke her
would just
toe.
go to your house. Like,
And to the porch.
is that where your radio station was at?
And so on Saturday morning, in the parlor of the house, it was a huge house. Uh, I had to pull the records and used a number two pencil and a Indian notebook type thing, those red tablets, and write in there, play Rubber Dolly for Aunt Sarah Ann, she broke her toe. And that started, and I said, I will never do this. I will never do this when I get grown. Because I was a party girl, and I did that till, well, I was 12 years old, and my dad was drafted into the Seabees in World War II, and we lost everything. We lost the house, we lost the radio station, and we moved to Cleveland, Texas, which was near where my grandmother and grandfather lived. And we just, during the war, there was such a fear factor over not only our nation, but, even families
Uh-huh.
that, what's going to happen to me if my husband has to go, or my daughter, my son has to go. And so when we settled there, my mom had never worked. She got a job, and I was responsible for getting her laundry done and helping my brother. He was a lot older than I was in school, and it changed my life to an extent that I, I I decided that I would find out what it was God had for me to do. And so what we did in Cleveland, they put an 18-wheeler trailer in the middle of the square, and every Saturday we performed. We'd go out and dance, do, you know, all kind of dancing.
You were dancing back then
Oh
on a
yeah,
truck,
yeah, on a
and we
truck
thought
bed.
Elena was crazy.
Yeah, I led. It's what an 18-wheeler looks like.
Hmm.
You put two of those, then you've got a big. But we sold war bonds. We sold the stamps. We did all of that, and we in that was when women first went out to go to work in the marketplace, and children like myself had no place to go, and there was no one to take care of us. So they extended our school system, our classes, till about 3:30 in the afternoon at school. And they were all optional, and one of them was in, because I had a speech impediment, one of them was in literacy and learning to write. And so we started writing. We wrote plays. We wrote all kinds of things the group did. And we would go on Saturday and perform on that platform out there in the center. And that was another thing. I said I'd never do this when I got grown. But anyway, all of that was the beginning of what God did when He brought us to Austin. And that young man from the counseling center said, Evelyn, we want to help you do what it is that you are good at. And said, we have got some investors, and we're gonna build a new radio station.
And what was the name of that radio station?
I do not know.
Was it Kicksel or was it before that?
No, it was way before Kixon.
See,
But what happened was I was doing noontime news with Buddy Hicks, who was a pastor, and he had this little mobile thing in the bank building at 620 and 183.
uh-huh.
And so I would go in 2 or 3 days a week and give him the news. And he was the one that formed that station. And Paul Pryor, Olin Merrill, all the big guns that were doing talk radio at that time came over there. And it was a Christian station, but it had all the other
Yeah.
country music, all that stuff. And so we lasted there for, I guess, 3 or 4 years, and they sold it. And the new owners did not want me there. I was the only one left that had a religious message, and she didn't like me. But the guy that owned the station said, "You leave Evelyn alone." So I stayed there, and so then when Gene started, and I had done some things at Kixel, when Gene started, he called me and we visited, and he said, we need to talk business. And so that's when we went big time. Before that it was kind of fun, but then we got big time. And out of that came the Good News Journal, because we, about 10 years ago, I was named America's national coordinator for prayer ministries.
Mm-hmm.
And so it took on this national thing then. And of course, about that time, the web came in, and we're on the web now. People can listen, and all of this came as a result of what God had planned for me, because I had a speech impediment as a child, and I still have a little difficulty. If I talk about it, I can't talk about it. But God has a plan for your life, Gavin.
It's amazing, right? Because you were doing radio, didn't want to do it anymore. You were writing, didn't want to do it anymore, and performing, you didn't want to do it anymore. How long have you done Love Talk? How many years?
35.
35 years I've been doing Love Talk. She's written how many books?
14, and I'm planning on a new one in the fall if things go well.
I don't know how she fits all this in. Plus, she is a public speaker and goes to all these events and runs them. That's all things that were thrown at you as a kid to get you ready for this.
Yes, I believe that, Kevin.
It's amazing how your path mimics so many other journeys of people who have passed, like the whole story of this radio station, period. Because you were back in the Kicksel days.
Oh yeah, and Kicksel, boy, that was something, Kicksel. But when it sold, then it changed my life and it changed Jean's life.
Yeah, because we became the Word.
And we had about 3 weeks there that we went to Taylor in an old building that we had to have an umbrella to put over the microphone on Saturday, and black tarps everywhere. And,
I've heard those stories.
Yeah, that was God's provision, Gavin. And we never know what God wants for us until we ask Him and we seek Him. And it is amazing what He can do and will do and wants to do in the life of all of us. Now, my speech impediment's getting bad again. I'm getting old. I'll be 89 years old, my birthday. And I've had some little knots and bumps lately.
But you're still here.
But I'm still here and still talking.
And she loves to talk. I always find it amazing because I started with you guys when you had the other host and Kathy was the intern.
Yes.
And how do you keep the show fresh for 30 plus years? You still have stuff to talk about after decades.
Mm-hmm.
How do you do that?
Well, I do it because what's on my heart and what I pray for.
Uh-huh.
And prayer is the thing that drives what we do. And we're beginning to look at some different things differently. I have served, when George W. Bush went to the White House, I was honored that year as America's National Prayer Coordinator. And that was quite I would say an accomplishment, but an honor. The first governor's prayer breakfast we had with Greg Abbott. And not Greg Abbott, with George Bush. And we had planned our program. I'd been doing it about 5 years. Once a year, we'd have a breakfast and call the city to prayer. And we put up little signs in our yards. We've been praying here today because we wanted to be seen and heard. And when we began to look at that from a point of view of what it is we need to do, we started having a breakfast and just having a speaker come in. We're going to do that the first, it's the first Thursday in May, but we'll do it on Monday. This year we're going to have the guy that was one of the original astronauts and his wife. His last name is Charlie Duke, and he's going to be our speaker. Well, that year we had a baseball fan, a big guy that was one of the guys that played with the fun thing. I don't know what their name was. Scheduled for him to speak, and that was right after George W. was elected, and he found out about it. We had Baby Mason coming in, who's a great African American singer, just travels this nation well, and he heard about that, and he called me. I don't know where he got my phone number, but he called me and asked if he could talk, if he could come to the breakfast and talk. And I said, well, what do you want to talk about? And he said, I want to talk about why I'm here. So we canceled the speaker, and he did the first one. And we've done that now for, I think, 28 years. I think it's 28 years. And it's just part of life, not for me, Gavin, but for the city of Austin. And with this 24-hour-a-day prayer thing in churches, 40,000 churches in this nation is our goal.
Yep.
To get them praying 24 hours. One person praying 30 minutes, another, all night long, because they're not people in the day people.
Yeah.
And these are the things that have just given me an extension of life, I think. Health-wise, I'm not very good, but I can still talk.
She can talk. She loves talking. She loves walking. She's come up here with a cane before. It's just insane how awesome being around you has been.
Well, thank you, Gavin.
Now, for my question for you, you've been here since the old days to today.
Mm-hmm.
they show me these cassettes that you just put in the wall. Like, how has it been for you to watch how radio has changed? Because everything we do now is on that computer, like
Well,
everything.
it's a little hard, I'd have to tell you, but you make it so easy for us, Gavin. You know, it's like the before we had to keep our own time, and one time I quit right in the middle of the third one, thinking I was out of time.
She thought she was in the fourth segment. It was like, okay, we're done. Bye. I was like, no, you got another one.
You know, but it's when you get caught up in what you're doing, and it's such a pleasure, and you have a purpose for that. You can just relax and say, well, that's Evelyn. You know,
So, what has been your favorite episode of Love Talk?
when I what?
Your favorite episode of Love Talk you've ever done?
Well, I don't know. I've thought about that a lot because I am going to write this new book in the fall, and it's if all goes well. You know, I've got health issues, and at my age, you can't put it in the bank. Uh, love walking, love talking, and walking with Jesus. Love talking and love walking with Jesus, and I'm going to have 31 co-authors for that book about a time in their life when they had a great need, and they came to trust God to fill that need and to bless them. And I think probably Kathy Enderbrock is one of our helpers, and I think she told me we've got 16 of those already. We haven't even started.
Nice.
That. But I would say probably one of the best ones we ever had was with Colin Lambert down at the old Kixel station.
Colin's been floating around this station off and on, helping us with a few things.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was such a history with him.
Yes, he of course was so much younger than I, and he went up to Baylor for school, and that didn't work out. I think I don't remember all the details, but he got a part-time job, and so you know, in those days it was one microphone, and you flipped it this
Yeah.
way. You know, you didn't even have your own
The
microphone.
walls of tapes is all they keep telling me, because like Gene will bring people back from the Kixel days to come tour the station. I'm like, what? I was like, I would not trade this for anything.
Yeah.
If I had to go, like, Dave has some of the tapes on his windowsills, like, just flipping these things out, like, I just push a button now, we're good.
And on top of that, if it rains, you have to have an umbrella. You know, and we've had two different places. One, the place over in Taylor, after Kixel was sold, and we, you know, Gene said, well, we got to get us a radio station. And so, he got one right away. And so we didn't have any clients or anything. So over there in that old bank building.
Yes.
We had to climb a stairwell to go to the bathroom.
It was the stories from there. Like, there's some pictures that you guys will see later on. I have to say, I think my favorite episode I've ever done for you is the one where you had that missionary from overseas on. I forget what his name was. But he was on with you guys, and that was just a great show.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I know who that is. His name is Bill, but I don't know what his last name is.
Yeah. I loved that show because he was on Skype from, where was he, Jerusalem?
Mm-hmm.
Israel, somewhere over there. It was amazing. Talking about the conditions and everything he's doing. It was just great. That was my favorite show we've done. But yeah, so y'all, this is Evelyn. This is Love Talk. This is the history of this amazing woman who does not stop. Like, you'll hear when we do this video with Kathy and Carrie, they'll tell you, nothing stops her. She broke a leg. She's right up here. Like, she's walking around. Like, it's just, it's insane. Like,
Well,
you have been here.
I think about it, and I think it might be embarrassing more than
No. Being able to do everything that you've done and inspire all the people that you've inspired and to touch all the people that you've touched in the good way all over the years it has to be amazing. Like, Carrie's still here.
Oh, yes.
Kathy, like I said, I remember when she was the intern, is now here, and they just speak so highly of you every time.
Well, it's because we love each other, and that love is not something you manufacture. You can't put on the cooking stove and cook it up. It's something that God develops in your life, and it's like, that's why I love you, Gavin.
We've been here.
And when I'm here, I know if I goof up or something happens, I got somebody to take care of me in the physical.
Yeah.
And I believe the Lord takes care of me, but I have someone in the physical, and so it is such a pleasure to come in at least once a week and be with you and be with the girls, and we plan a program. And they are so good at it.
They are. So you guys can visit lovetalknetwork.com, right?
Hmm.
And get
Yes.
caught up on all the history of Love Talk, all the shows, all the new shows up there. And it's amazing. And I cannot wait to see what the future is going to bring for you.
Well, I'm going to be smoothing out some rough tracks this year in releasing some of the major responsibilities I have for some of the things. Because one of the things the Lord has taught me is you are what you bring up.
Hmm.
You are what you bring up. And with Carrie, they are just so precious and so powerful that I can just relax and enjoy them. But then in the other things, like with this Pray America thing, that the corporation we have, we've got to fund that thing. We've got to get to the point that it pays for itself,
Uh-huh.
so that we don't have to make other than time investment in it. And it's coming there because Austin has become known, is now known as the most prayed over city in the nation, because we have about 350 pastors who, maybe a little less than that sometimes, a little more, depends on what they have going, who once a year in the month of January go up to the baker's place up on one of the lakes
Uh-huh.
and have starting on Sunday night, and they put together a whole year of planned activities to draw people together to come to know or come to sing or to whatever. And it is an exciting thing because that has really funded, not in money wise, but in person power, to for this for this America Praise thing. And we've got some good uh, people as on the board of directors
Yep.
and people on the staff, and it's becoming. I think you all are running some. I know some of the other stations are running spots for
I
that.
think we are as well.
Yeah, and
Because
it
it's a good
is.
thing.
Yes, yeah. So when you look, it's not the big things that count in life and bring you pleasure and joy to yourself and to others, but it's the little things. It's the appreciation, the love. Our theme this year, Gavin, for National Day of Prayer is um, love one another.
That's the
Out,
best.
out of
That's the best
John,
way to wrap this up. Love one another.
John 13, 34, Jesus says, love one another as I have loved you. And the one thing that the disciples asked Jesus, and after watching him, being trained by him, following him, suffering with him, was, what is it that you need to do to be able to be effective in this? And it's two things. It's number one is to love, and secondly to laugh. You have to take God seriously and really enjoy the fellowship and all the things that he brings us. And so that's what I try to do every day, is find a little bit of fun that I can either have or give to somebody else.
She does. When she comes up here, she does got little gifts for people. One time she brought me a key knife, and I was like, this is awesome. It's just, we love you, Evelyn. You are as much a part of this radio station as we all are. And I'm glad I got to sit down and talk with you and love one another
Love one another and pray
and pray.
and praise.
So this has been Evelyn Davison. It was our first Stories from the Bridge. You'll probably see more of her when we actually do the documentary and have some questions that we have for her. But she's been around.
Too
It's
long.
amazing. Not too long. No, you've never been around too long. So stay tuned as we will do more Stories from the Bridge. For more of the shows behind here, like Kathy and Carrie, we're going to get them. We have Jonathan Sines. We have Larry Lennon Schmidt. We have a whole bunch of people we're going to talk to who have been a part of this radio station forever today, leading up to our big short documentary we're going to do, because you saw how God worked in Evelyn's life. You'll see how God worked in this radio station's life to get it to where it is. Like, it's amazing.
Oh, it is astonishing.
But no spoilers, so we're not giving it away yet. So thanks, guys, for watching, and make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more of what we're going to do.
I love you.
Everybody loves me. Not as much as they love you, though.